Buddy, and we're going to get started right away. We're going to hear from the prime sponsor of HB 1114. HB 1114. Welcome, Representative. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Tremendous.
It is a good morning.
It is. It's going to get better.
All right.
You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and honorable members of the committee. For the record, I'm Representative Nancy Murphy, representing the town of Merrimack, Hillsborough County, District 12. I'm here today to introduce HB 1114, which will extend the date of New Hampshire's PFAS Commission, which was introduced for the first time as HB 737 in 2019. The PFAS contamination of southern New Hampshire by a single polluter was the impetus for the filing of that original bill and remains the focus of the Commission's work. This Commission's done great bipartisan work since its inception and seeks to have the opportunity to continue that work. In addition to our state agencies, scientists, legislators, and content experts, the Commission memberships includes town government officials and citizen representative of each impacted community. The tens of thousands of citizens in these impacted communities are relying on this Commission to be their voice. There's a number of goals of the Commission, and really all this is doing is just extending it. In 2021, the town of Londonderry was added to one of the communities included within the Commission. And most recently in the House, the town of Hudson was added as well, as their public wells are located in Litchfield and have been contaminated also. The kidney cancer feasibility study for the town of Merrimack is just beginning, and that came as a result of looking at the health outcomes known to be associated with PFAS exposure in our community and the cancer data. Merrimack has a 42% higher rate of kidney cancer, which is associated with PFOA exposure. Even though St. Gobain, there is a plan for it to close down, there will be a transition and shutdown of St. Gobain that isn't going to be quick and will still leave us with the impacts of their activities there. The other thing is we still have to work on, there are a number of homes that still have private, are accessing the water through bottled water, over 500 homes, I believe it is, that 8 years after this exposure are still drinking bottled water rather than they're not connected yet to a permanent water source. So a lot of work to be done, and we would just like the work to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Seeing none? Well done.
Thank you.
Wendy?
This would be very short. For the record, I am Representative Wendy Thomas from the town of Merrimack. Here in support of this bill, this commission has already done great work. The world of PFAS is rapidly evolving with new information from the EPA and science on a daily basis. This commission needs to continue so that communities can link arms and share best practices in informing, researching, and protecting our New Hampshire residents. I urge you to support and pass this bill. Thank you.
Well done. Questions from the committee? Seeing none. Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Hi. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative. Just confirming that this passed through House Resources to pass 19-0 and then was on consent, or was not a consent calendar?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions. Thank you. Mike?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mike Wimsatt. I serve as Director of the Waste Management Division for New Hampshire DES. Here to just very briefly express the department's support for this bill. This commission for the last several years has served as really a very effective and efficient venue for DES to communicate with these communities, and it has to be said the communities that make up this commission have suffered an unprecedented impact that we've not seen anywhere else in the state. with respect to the widespread impacts to groundwater and drinking water in their communities. So we really welcome the ability every month, they meet every month very religiously, and we welcome the ability to come in and speak with them and share with them and and understand their concerns and try to make sure that we're having really effective and frequent communications with the community members. So we just very much support this bill and the extension of the commission.
Thank you for your testimony. Questions from the committee? Seeing none? Well done. Is there a motion to, nobody else here to speak, so I'm going to close the hearing. Is there a motion to move into exec?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Move out to pass on 11-14.
Discussion? Seeing none? All in favor of ought to pass? Ought to pass? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none? It passes. Who would like to take it out? Senator Bertzel will take it out. And is there a motion to move out of exec?
Are we ready for the next one, or you want to do another bill? We get 3 more minutes.
Okay. Is there a motion on another bill?
Well, did you want to do 1465? You said you wanted to do that one through quickly?
Yeah, I actually do. 1465, that's Representative Amon's bill. And there was an amendment to that?
Yeah, it's being drafted.
All right.
Okay.
Then we'll have to hold on that.
Can we make it a committee amendment? Let's do it as a
Is it a
committee
simple
amendment.
one? All right.
Yeah. Let me get it out, 1455. So the committee amendment would base,
1465.
1465. Where is it? Give it to me. So the committee amendment, Senator Waters wanted to make sure that there had to do with offshore wind.
Yes.
Could you read that to me, what I had, Bill? There it is, I found it, yay, okay. And we had a bit, as a committee amendment, we just wanted to make sure,
You want me to read through it?
yeah,
So on page 3, line 30, page strike, Office of Energy Innovation. And insert in its place, Office of Offshore Wind Industry Development and Energy Innovation. On page 4, line 15, 18, 22, 25.
I'm sorry, one more time, what page? Page
4.
4, thank you.
On lines 15, 18, 22, 25, 26, 27, and then page 5, lines 8, 18, and 19.
Should be on page 4, line 32 as well.
Okay. In each of those places, unstrike offshore wind industry development to restore the statute and add the word "and" immediately following and retain energy innovation. So each reference will read Office of Offshore Wind Industry Development and Energy Innovation.
and Senator Waters wanted that put in there, so, and he's not here today, so I wanted to make sure that his voice was and his concerns were added
The other note I had is we need to change the effective date to on passage.
and on passage.
Yep.
And the last one is just amending RSA 12, E7, E2 to read the Office of Offshore Wind Industry Development and Energy Innovation, so just changing that again. And then the subsection G saying fulfill the duties outlined in RSA 162.
And you're good with all of that?
I'm good, I have all of
All right, I'll move the committee amendment.
All right. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the committee amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none,
Move out to pass as amended.
discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none?
Take it out. Or actually, Senator Waters, maybe should take that out.
Oh, he can't, he's not here.
Okay, I'll do it.
All right, so I can't appoint it to somebody if he's not here.
Yeah. That was-
I already asked it yesterday, so Senator Pearl will take it out, and is there a motion to move out of exec?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none? I still got a couple minutes left.
No, isn't it 10? No, it's 9:10. You're good.
All right. The efficiency of the Senate. So we're going to hear from the prime sponsor of HB 1143. I don't think it's going to be this easy for you.
Good morning, Senators, and thank you for allowing me to introduce to you House Bill 1143. This bill adds into the Clean Lakes program work that the Department of Environmental Services can do regarding cyanobacteria blooms. As background, a couple of years ago, House Bill 1106 or 1066, which is a bill that passed the House and the Senate. I had sponsored it to set up to mandate the Department of Environmental Services to develop a cyanobacteria management plan. And they issued that report, I think it was late last year. And one of the recommendations that came from that was to add cyanobacteria management into the New Hampshire Clean Lakes program, which presently just really addresses milfoil. So that's what 1143 does. It just, you can see it just takes the Clean Lakes program, but allows DES the authority to address cyanobacteria. And I know that Mr. Ted Deers is here from DES, so he can probably answer any questions you have, but if there's any of me, feel free.
All right, questions from the committee? Thank you.
Thank
Seeing
you.
none. No and yes. No and Andrea?
Good
Hi.
morning.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Andrea Lamoureux, President and Policy Advocate for New Hampshire Lakes, a statewide nonprofit organization representing about 275 lake associations. And we are here today in support of this bill for all of the reasons Representative Rung said. It is a key priority of the state's recent released plan to address the increasing frequency and severity of cyanobacteria blooms in our lakes. This bill will help to get those blooms under control and hopefully eventually prevent them. And that's important to our state for so many reasons. So I'm urging you to support this and happy to answer any questions.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ted? No, there's no FN on this. I don't think so. Still, I can get off my plate.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Ted Deers, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Water Division at the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. And I am pleased to say that the department unambivalently supports this bill.
I noticed that. They're very good.
This is the point of this bill is a couple of things, as has been spoken to previously, better than I will. There's a serious problem with cyanobacteria getting worse, and we are trying to be on top of that as well as we can as a department. So this bill does a couple of things. Pretty much it codifies our response to cyanobacteria, puts that into statute, which it does not currently exist. It exists sort of as a program that has been developed organically at DES. And so this puts it into statute, makes it very clear that this is part of our mandate of what we should be doing. The other thing it does is it gives us some authority. We currently write permits for things like alum treatments, which is an in-lake treatment, which requires pouring a lot of aluminum into a lake, which basically filters the phosphorus out of the lake and then binds it in the bottom of the lake. This is appropriate on a few lakes around the state that have what's called high internal loading, which is basically there's a lot of phosphorus hanging around at the bottom of the lake, primarily from when they cut all the trees down to grow sheep in this state. So that there's a few lakes in which that's appropriate. We've been using a mechanism that has been a little bit clunky to be able to permit that. This gives us direct authority to permit those sorts of activities. So with that, I will just say thank you for your support on cyanobacteria and a cyanobacteria fund as we've been moving along, and I really do appreciate it. And I can answer any questions.
Senator Pearl?
Thank you. Thanks for coming in today.
Absolutely.
Just for the benefit of the committee, I mean, generally when we establish a program, there's a fiscal note and funds that are required. Can
Sure.
you discuss why that's not required here?
Absolutely. I think that's a good question. And the answer is that these are things that we've already been doing and budgeted for through other programs. So you don't see a fiscal note. If, you know, I mean, in order to truly This was talked about a lot in the plan that was developed last year with the aid of folks like Representative Rung and New Hampshire Lakes and lots of other stakeholders. If you looked at the cost of controlling cyanobacteria going forward, it will be an enormous amount of money. But in terms of the state running the programs that it's currently running, we do have grant programs already established. We have staffing that's already assigned. We have 2 general fund positions that have been created by the legislature to be able to do this sort of work. So that's the reason why I didn't have a fiscal note, is because it essentially is codifying the things that we're doing right now. It doesn't take into consideration sort of the longer term need of what would really truly be needed for controlling cyanobacteria.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any follow-ups? Seeing none, thank you very
Great,
much.
thank you.
And, wow. Well done. After I close it, I'm going to close the hearing. And now Senator Bertzel moves into exec.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. Is there a motion on 1143?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of ought to pass?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Who would like to take this out? Senator Altshuler, you don't have one yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to give that one to you. And is there a motion to move out of exec?
You want to do another bill, or? We got 3 more minutes again.
We got 3 more. Which one would you like?
I don't know, just been asking. What do you got on the list?
Can we do it in 3 minutes? Ladies and gentlemen?
We can. How about, House Bill 1504, architectural paint. You want to do that one real quick?
Which one?
1504,
Is there a motion on 1504?
we're going to move into the study.
Is there a second? Discussion.
So,
1504, that's on the recycling of the paint.
yes, so
And-
the reason I moved in from study, let me turn my mic on, sorry. The reason I moved in from study, I don't think it's a hard one, is we had the group that is essentially going to manage this architectural paint program is not ready for us to move forward with this. They feel the language needs some more work. So they have reached out and asked us to interim study this so they can have an opportunity to work on it. And that is why I moved it.
Okay. Senator Altshuler?
Yeah, could we just move the effective date up so that they have a little bit more organizational time? Because their opposition was only in that they didn't have enough time to organize and launch, and we had overwhelming testimony from the Regional Planning Commission of the Upper Valley, from Lakes Region Household Hazardous Waste, from DES Hazardous Waste. And, this passed on consent in the House. If the objection is just like, we just need a little more time, rather than having to do this all over again next year, why don't we just extend the effective date for another, till 2025?
Sure. The message that came back to me from them is they really like us to interim study this bill. They're not ready with the language that's there. That was the ask, and that's why I moved it.
Well, I mean, I hear you. They said that, I have that note, that this should be a study committee over the summer, but because they want more time to work on it, but they didn't attend the work sessions that were available. So it doesn't seem like they were, all that enthusiastic about participating in the work. So what's the difference between 6 more weeks in the summer versus, like, why don't we just, in earnest, like, if the issue is, I want to work on this, let's work on it. Like, give them the time and just pump up the effective date so that we're actually moving towards this goal.
I do know that, I don't want to speak for Senator Waters, but I know that he would not be objectionable to this position because I've had conversation with him on that as well. And there is, I've spoken with the chair of the House committee that had this, and she's understanding why this is this way, and it is in agreement that we could do this. So that's why I moved interim study, okay? because there was just further work that needed to be done.
All right, so, just because we're running out of time, we'll take a vote on it. All in favor of interim study?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, and who would like to take this out?
I'll take it out if you
Senator Pearl will take it out. Is there a motion to move out of exec?
like. So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed, seeing none. And so we're gonna hear from the prime sponsor of HB 1360, relative to emergency authority on public or coastal water of the state. Welcome, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the committee, for hearing me this morning.
And just introduce yourself if you don't mind.
I should.
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Dan Wolf, Merrimack 7, representing the towns of Newbury and New London. House Bill 1360 gives the Commissioner of Safety the clear authority to impose speed limits on public waters of the state in the event of weather or environmental conditions. Last summer, during the month of July, New Hampshire was faced with unprecedented rain. In particular, Lake Sunapee, which I represent, rose to its highest level ever. This caused water to rise at least 2 feet over the bases of the lighthouses, which happen to be the only freshwater lighthouses in the state. Docks became unattached from their anchors, boats broke loose, and debris began to float. Navigation on the lake and other lakes throughout the state became extremely dangerous. The state was asked to implement a reduction in the speed that boats could use during this time. Unfortunately, Marine Patrol advised me that there was no clear authority to impose a speed restriction without going through the rulemaking process. Local law enforcement took it upon themselves, with assistance from the Lake Sunapee Protective Association in our case, to inform the communities of the danger. Electronic billboards were placed at the entrances to Newbury, New London, and Sunapee. Save the lake, leave no wake. Inform boaters of the dangers. It worked for the most part, and most everyone on the lake heeded the warning. What we didn't have was the weight of the state behind this information campaign. Public service announcements, social media comments, and websites were needed. This bill gives the state the right to have a rule in place that in an emergency, the speed on the lake should be reduced and the public could be notified of that reduction. It is not intended to ticket someone exceeding those conditions, but allows the state to get out the message that conditions are such that speed should be reduced. Without this legislation, the Commissioner of Safety was reluctant to disseminate such a message. House Bill 1360 will eliminate that reluctance. It's a very simple bill, and hopefully the committee here will support it as the House did. I think it was a unanimous decision in the House.
Thank you for your testimony, bringing the bill forward. Questions from the committee? Seeing none, well done.
Thank you.
Andrea? Aye. Oh, yeah.
Good morning again. I'm Andrea Lamoureux, President and Policy Advocate of New Hampshire Lakes, and we urge you to support this bill as well. This bill, Representative Wolf mentioned the high water on Lake Sunapee last summer and the apparent confusion of who had the authority to implement emergency orders to prevent additional erosion from high water, to prevent safety issues. This is a statewide problem. Our office was inundated with calls about what can we do about the high water. And we unfortunately expect that we're going to see this situation more and more with our changing climate. So to have the Department of Safety confident that they can issue emergency orders to protect property, safety, and water quality is a good thing. So we urge you to support this.
Thank you for your testimony. Questions from the committee? Nobody from safety. Jody, you want to? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any thoughts?
passed 1998, the Department of Safety did issue an outbreak order related to Sasaki, but I believe it's not very clear, and they've done it in the past.
Thank you, Jody. I don't know if that was helpful. Yep. So seeing no further questions and nobody else to testify, we're going to close the hearing. Is there a motion to move into exec? All right. Is there a motion on this particular bill of 1360? Eight? Is there a second?
Second?
All discussion on HB 1360. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of 1360 ought to pass?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. I guess I'll take this one out because I haven't taken anything out yet.
All right.
I don't want to be left behind.
Hey, we have 3 minutes again. You want to do another?
Sure, what do you got? We got mine. Come on, let's do it.
I don't know this time. I haven't got another one. I'll let somebody else know. We got some easy ones.
So,
1179 looks easy.
can we do the septic one? 1139? Did I get that on that list?
No, 1142 you have on you.
1142 relative to eligibility permits for septic systems with Mr. McConkey.
Is this the one you wanted to do?
Is it on my list?
It is on your list, but
Yeah.
we need to have it. Actually, let's do a different one if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
I'm just trying to do an easy one because we only have a couple minutes.
All right,
Looks like 1179, that's why I did it. Doesn't look like it has an amendment.
right, 1179. Is there a motion on 1179 while I look for it? Let's see. This is state park fees for retired members and armed services. Yes, is there a motion on this? Okay,
I'll second.
discussion. You take it.
The only question I had, it amends the state park fees for retired members of the armed forces. Is that just for those living in New Hampshire, or is it all? So,
That's what I thought, it was just New Hampshire as well.
the retired member, the defined. Oh, includes active, retired, and reserved members of the New Hampshire National Guard. It doesn't specify.
Providing proof of New Hampshire residency, line 8.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the as introduced. Is this amended?
Yes.
Yes.
Ah, I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
Further discussion? All in favor of ought to pass on HB 1179?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none? Senator Bertzel, seeing how you wanted this one,
Okay.
she'll take it out. And there, motion to move out of exec?
So moved.
All in favor, aye. Say me too.
Aye.
Okay. Let's see, how much time do I got? We ready for the next one? Oh, I got 1 minute left. We could have done another one. All right, so let's just wait.
1360.
1371 is the next bill.
1371, I'm sorry. Let me check off that.
Well, if the prime sponsor of 1371 wants to get up to the seat, we'll get started right away. See, they're not even in here, so this is good. Relative to allowing the land of use in the master plan to include section of waste reduction.
This is Rep. Evil. She's in here, you want me to introduce it?
Yeah.
Did we just do 1290?
I beg your pardon? Today? 12, no.
No, we did 1179. We did 1465 and 1504.
Moving right along, right? That's good. All right, Senator Pearl's going to introduce it. Are you ready? Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Senator Howard Pearl from District 17, and I'm introducing House Bill 1371. This bill allows the town master plans to include a waste reduction section.
Questions from the committee?
I hope not.
I hope not.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am kidding. So, is there a sign-up sheet? There is. Wow. Good job. No. And Sarah. And she always comes smiling, just like the song. Too late. Yeah,
And she comes again.
she comes, yeah. Welcome, Sarah.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Sarah Uhas Kern, and I serve as the Assistant Director of the Waste Management Division at the Department of Environmental Services. DES supports this bill, which would enable municipal master plans to include a section on solid waste diversion and reduction. We support it because we see any local efforts to increase solid waste diversion and reduce solid waste generation as supporting the state's solid waste management plan and the state's solid waste reduction goals. That's all I have to say.
So it supports local control too as well, right? It does. Love it. All right. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
I don't have anybody who wants to do a question, so, and that, you are our final speaker. So with that, we're going to close the hearing on 1371. Is there a motion to move into exec?
So moved.
Second.
Oh.
Third.
Yeah, so moved this second. Yeah. No, you're second. That's right. All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, is there a motion on 1371? I'll second it. And discussion.
I
Okay.
don't really have anything to say. I think it's a good idea.
Good idea. Supports local control. Love it. And see how no further discussion. All in favor of ought to pass is 1371.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. I'll take this one out.
All right.
And,
You have more than 3 minutes.
yikes. All right. On the to-do list. This is really helpful, actually.
Well, you want to start at the beginning, 194?
194. Actually,
Oh.
602. I want to do 602.
602.
An interim study on that one?
You making a motion?
Yeah. Well, I'd entertain a motion on interim study.
Okay, I'll make a motion to interim study.
And seconded by Senator Herzl. Discussion. Seeing no further.
Okay. Yeah. Would love to know why we don't want to pass this, since we had a whole bunch of people in support. You know, what needs to be worked on?
Well, I know the department came in, they definitely were not, they were very sanguine about this. I don't feel like this is,
I know my notes, if I may, Mr. Chair, said
Yep.
at least the middle section is redundant, and we already have it in rules, and it wasn't necessary.
It's, from line 15 to 27, it says already covered. Line 7, legal quagmire, any practice of the department in this discretion considered worthwhile. Effective date, it's a legal quagmire, and it's just going to, that's the testimony that I've had. Issue
Yes.
with right of appeals. There may be some support for it, but there's also some significant opposition as well.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find the significant opposition, because my notes have that this is just adding a preliminary action phase. So that a potential landfill site would have, there would be an opportunity for the public to be involved before any sort of permitting was done. And determining if that site is actually appropriate. So, given the fact that we don't have a need for, we don't have any lands, we don't have any need for landfills in the next couple of years, we do have an opportunity to, tighten up where we put them in the future so that they are not in places where they will end up polluting local water sources and having potential PFAS runoff. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a question of like, will it, it's when will it, and can we do something about not putting it so close to sensitive spaces? And that's a good thing we can do is, pump the brakes.
Well, I think my concern came around the department's testimony, that they raised concerns about that it could have an issue on the right to appeal from an applicant, and they talked about the redundancy. And there was one more point, and I'm sorry.
Robust
I
regulatory
lost it.
process they already have. Legislative redundancy would lead to additional time, cost, potential project delays due to appeals. From that, the process mirrors existing rules already. So again, the redundancy, adding extra steps, highlighted the role of design engineers, hydrologists, analysis, collected data, assisted feasibilities, halting projects early that they deem unavailable, and it goes on. BIA came out in opposition against it as well.
I know Mr. Steinhauser from Sanborn and Head gave some extensive testimony too, as what his objections were to it.
So
We also have this letter from the Grafton County Commissioners and New Hampshire DOT, the governor, our state senator from District 1, executive counselors, encouraging us to pump the brakes. The March 26th letter, that they have real concerns about several issues brought to our attention, and then, moving straight through everything we heard in the testimony, which is concerns about runoff from PFAS, concerns about that runoff going into the Ammonoosuc River, concerns that it will cost the town of Bethlehem and Grafton County remediation costs, that there's the potential for expensive public health disaster is much, much higher than if we could just pump the brakes and put some measures in place so that we don't roll through the way we do landfill siting the way we have.
Well, Senator,
I think we all have
I'm not
this.
sure that pertains to this bill, as I read it. This is about a preliminary process.
Yes.
It's more about just preliminary criteria about the siting.
Mhm.
I think that would pertain more to the moratorium bill, which might be
Well, I think
a further discussion there.
they're referring exactly to line 11, that the department shall, in its discretion and informed by a public hearing and subsequent written public comment, adopt one or more prohibitive locational criteria.
well, I gotta move this along, so we're gonna have to come up with a decision, because I gotta get into the next hearing. So I'm gonna move the question, all in favor of interim study?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Senator Pearl, you're gonna take this one out.
Sure.
And I'm gonna make a motion to move out of exec.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And next, we're going to have the hearing for HB 1221. 1221, this is the prime sponsor. What's that? Yeah. Did you get your phone?
No.
So,
She ignored you.
apparently, story of my life. Yeah, I already did, but go for it. Yeah. I'm nobody. I get that a lot. Well, kinda. All right, Representative, now that I've
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Representative Chuck Rassi from Rochester, Stratford District 8. I've handed you a couple of handouts. One is a letter from Professor Adam Finkel, who talks about his experiences up in Dalton, and another one is a map of the watersheds that are basically in my bill, and also the current RSAs dealing with regional impact. One of the questions we had a lot in the House committee was they questioned current wording in the law, not the bill that was before you. I'm here to introduce House Bill 1221, which is to include solid waste landfills in the definition of developments of regional impact. This is a pretty simple bill. Throughout the summer, I met with a number of environmental groups, and one of the concerns that they had was that there was not enough opportunity for individuals to have input into the process. There weren't enough public hearings. We took a look at how best to deal with this, and one of the things I looked at was surface water tends to basically move within a watershed. Groundwater tends to have a mind of its own sometimes, but surface water, we know where it goes. So what I figured out is if we could deal with a landfill that was in a watershed, it would take care of the surface water and any drainage and pollution that would runoffs that would come off as a site, and how it would impact the surface water in that site, which would then impact the groundwater in the site. What this does is currently a landfill is addressed as projects of regional impact, but only if the local planning boards identify them as such. And in some cases where a town may not have a planning board, or where an application is, as in the case of Dalton, where the application hasn't been submitted to the planning board, this would say that, and this is for just a very few projects, that if you have a project that is going to be a solid waste landfill, it is automatically determined to be a project of regional impact. I've met with all the conservation folks. They support this bill. I met with the regional planning commissions. They said this is a bill that they can work with because they're the ones that would take on the responsibilities as far as hearing and reviewing the projects. Any data take of that and public input with that really doesn't have any legal impact to deny a project, but what it would do is it would provide information that would be moved up the ladder as far as when projects are reviewed here at the state and DES. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions from the committee? Senator Altshuler.
Yep, we're to the left. Hi, thank you, Representative. Thanks for coming in. It looks like this was passed on a 20-0 vote out of resources.
Yes.
I'm sorry, environment and agriculture.
Yeah, yes, environment.
And then a voice vote on the floor?
Voice vote on the floor, yeah. The original bill that came in needed some amendments. We worked out amendments with the department and with waste management in order to make sure that we protected we grandfathered any landfills in. So that wasn't the intent to deal with grandfather. This is for new landfills that are coming into the state of New Hampshire, that they be given a full process for public hearing.
Thank you.
All right. Further questions? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Andrea.
Good morning again. I'm Andrea Lamoureux, President and Policy Advocate for New Hampshire Lakes, and we are here to support this bill for all the reasons Representative Grassi said. And I just wanted to specifically point out we appreciate the inclusion of the watershed concept in this bill. The watershed, of course, being the drainage area to a water body like a lake or a river. Depending on where a proposed landfill is sited within the drainage area, it could certainly have surface water quality as well as Representative Grassi said, groundwater impacts. So simply to provide establish this as a project of development regional impact, and to provide communities downstream in the watershed as well as throughout the watershed the opportunity to comment and share their local knowledge about surface water and groundwater patterns, I think could help protect our surface water quality and our groundwater. So we urge you to support this bill. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Great. I want to say this has been a very nice way to start my day, so thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Sarah, do you have anything to add? I do. Will this affect any currently, current permits that are in, applications that are pending right now or anything in the future? Is this a roadblock for anybody at all?
For the record, my name is Sarah Uhas Kern, Assistant Director of the Waste Management Division at the Department of Environmental Services. And the department has not taken a position on this bill. Regarding whether it would affect permits under consideration, right now we would need to ask the Department of Justice whether it would.
I see.
What I can tell you is we had written a letter of testimony regarding the bill to the House, Environment and Agriculture, and it had a few concerns. The amendments to the bill largely addressed our concerns. Mainly what we were looking for was clarity to be sure that a community needing to comply with the provisions of the bill would know what they should do. And as we read the bill as amended, we think that a community would know what to do.
But as far as our first question, and that you brought the Department of Justice into play, should we be asking them and inquiring and them if this is going to cause some heartburn in the future for them, or for the applicants that are already pending?
I think the question would be, would it pertain to an application that would be in-house? That would be a good question. The requirements for notification would be on the local body to do notification, which would include more people potentially in a public hearing.
Got it. So we should ask them before we move forward with that. Question, Senator Pearl?
Well, this isn't a question. So we have no one from the municipal association that's weighing in either? Okay.
Nobody at this point.
I think I might be interested in hearing their thoughts on it as well.
Yeah. Senator Bristol? Senator Altshuler?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is just a notification, right?
Right.
And this doesn't cause any interruptions in something that somebody may be in the process of doing. It just allows, it's enabling municipalities to broaden the scope, so maybe a regional planning commission can do an information night, or it's just information, right?
It would broaden the scope of who the information was sent to. Could potentially place somewhat more burden on the local body that had to do the notification, just in postage or what have you.
Is there a follow-up?
I would like a follow-up, please. Thank you. I'm looking at line 21 and 21 through 23. When a solid waste facility is found to affect a watershed area outside the boundaries of the state of New Hampshire, notification of a development of regional impact shall be mailed to the Secretary of State of that state. And so that's just one more notification that we're doing something that has a regional impact, that we're recognizing that a landfill doesn't just affect its immediate boundary, that if there's a boundary of a town, that town is also potentially affected. Yeah? Is that what this is? I'm reading this right?
That's correct. And
Okay.
the section that you cited was actually modified in the amendments to make it clear that just one notification needs to go to the other state rather than having to research many individuals in another state.
Right. Last question, please.
Hold on.
And so this piece as amended answered all of the questions and objections that you had to the first one, right?
It did, yes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have visitors.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. And we're going to close the hearing on HB 1221. And we're going to have some guests here. We have some guests from, would you like to introduce your guests, Senator Pearl?
I'll let them get in here.
And sit with that.
It's what? Fourth and fifth, all right.
Wow.
My goodness, we got a large group. They're still coming.
Feel like romper room. Da-dun-da-dun.
We got them all? Yes. All right. Well, colleagues of mine on the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, I wish you would join me in welcoming the 4th and 5th graders from the Canterbury Elementary School. Good morning. Canterbury is one of my favorite towns in my district. It's right next to Loudon, because I'm from Loudon, for those who don't know. And welcome here. You're going to have a great time visiting the State House today. Normally, I like to come up and see you in the Senate chambers, but we're holding hearings today, so I wasn't able to get away. So I asked Virginia to bring your group in so I could say hi to you here. So welcome, and I hope you have a great day. And it's a really fun time, and I think you'll enjoy all of the things you'll see and get to learn the process of what we do. What we're doing today is in this room, we're holding hearings. We've had 5 hearings so far on various topics that some will impact solid waste facilities and lakes and groundwaters and in our state. And so they're all important topics. And we get to hear testimony, and then we make decisions on how these bills will move forward to the full Senate floor. So welcome here. Do we have time for a question?
Yeah, does everybody know he's a farmer? We have he's a farmer. Did you know that? Yes. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you a farmer too? Yeah? You do? Excellent.
I have chickens and goats.
Nice. Very good. Does anybody like maple syrup?
I love
maple syrup. So that's one of the first, we just finished our maple season. That's one of the first crops we do on the farm. And I have chickens and turkeys and ducks and geese and pigs. My wife keeps adding to the herd and the flock, so it's getting bigger. There may be more when I get home, you never know.
What kind of questions do you have for Senator Pearl?
Any questions? Oh, behind us.
I just wanted to say my dad's house was a old farmhouse.
Nice.
And it was abandoned until he found it and he fixed it. So we live near a big plot of farmland.
That's awesome. It's a great place to play outside, and farmhouses are fun. It can be a little cold in the winter, but they're fun.
Isn't Shaker Village near Canterbury somewhere?
It is in Canterbury.
I've never eaten there, but I heard they have some good pancakes.
There you go. Well, they have plenty of good maple syrup around.
Oh, is that right? Any further questions? Come on.
No more?
No questions? You don't know what we're doing right now or nothing? You like? We got to hear it. Very good.
See, he was paying attention.
All right.
Great. Has any of you guys played Infinite Craft on Neopard?
No, I don't
Do
think
what?
I have.
They're too busy on that.
Oh.
Mike can get to play games.
Well, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you have a great time here at the State House. It is. It's all right.
Good to
Bye,
see you
guys.
all.
Thank you.
Thanks for visiting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
So while they're marching on that, I gotta go do a prime bill.
You want to go into recess for a bit? Because I know we have more we need to exact. I don't know what's your plan.
So let's do one more bill.
Okay.
Yeah. So motion to move into exec.
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. We're gonna hold on to this one that we just heard. Got an easy one that you'd like to do?
Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that, so I don't have one in queue here.
Historical Resources Compliance List. How about 194?
Okay. Actually, hold on to that if you would.
194?
Yeah.
Really?
A little bit. I need to get my head around it. I think there's something I was supposed to look at on that. So if you don't mind.
No, we'll hold on to 194.
I will be prepared when we come back after recess.
Okay, that's fine. All right. to get one more off our plate. So we did,
You want to do 622, Grid Advisory, Grid Organization Advisory Group? I don't know if there's any.
622. Got, is there a motion on 622? We get it out. Yeah, we just voted on exec. Okay. Is there a second?
Second, sorry, I'm just trying to get to my
Discussion?
notes here.
I can get it out if I can find it.
Yes.
Here. This is good fit for GMHG. Why don't I have it in my folder?
Well,
There it is. Got it. Got it. GMC Grid Mandate Committee investigated instead. Yeah.
I remember there was some concern from the Department of Energy.
Yeah.
Did you feel this was the right venue for addressing the bill's objectives?
That's what I have in the investigation instead. Blah, blah, blah. Would repeal establishment energy efficiency sustainable. Yeah,
I think that was the main objection.
that
I had
was.
noted.
I explained proposed duties would be added to existing grid modernization group.
I have mine here if you want to look at the hearing report.
Yeah, they were supposed to come get back to me on this as well. But at this point, I'm just going to move it along because I got to get going to. So there was a motion on interim study. All in favor of interim study?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. And I'll take it out.
Okay.
And I have to move, I gotta go introduce the bill, so we're going, motion to move out of exec segment by Senator Pearl. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So we'll be in recess. We can come back and do some more. Give me a half hour.
30 minutes?
Yeah. I don't know how long I'm gonna be. I has to do it at the house, so.
All right.
Do you ever get your phone? Yes, I did. Oh, looks like you have more clout than I do.
Having trouble finding it.
Oh, she did. Oh, I see. Okay. So we just did 622, right?
All right, so we'll see you back here in about a half hour.
Sounds good. Okay. All right, we can hold on. Is there anything on that? Huh? Is there anything on that? All in favor of exec?
Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. So that one, that municipal association bill, is
194?
that the one that you had your concerns with?
That's the first one. Can we hold on that? I did not get the opportunity I needed in the break to work on that.
Am I behind the door? Oh. Hi.
Open your door, your mystery date. Look at this. Welcome.
Okay. If someone
Yeah,
skulks
if you
in
can
and
hold
hides
on
behind a
194,
door,
I need it.
you know, that sounds like red flags.
All right.
I didn't know it was you.
Can I
I
see this?
didn't.
I don't have my list with me.
I do have a question for you after.
Me?
No. Do I point?
No, story of my life.
He wasn't looking. He wasn't
Can I see my
looking.
list? Yeah.
Sorry,
Those
I like it wasn't paying
that one?
attention.
All right. So HB 622.
Which one?
622?
622.
Yeah, we already did that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't see it.
622 we did? Oh, okay. We did 602. I'm sorry, I missed checking it. All right, my apologies, I missed checking it. So 1103 is your next one.
All right, 1103. Is there a motion on 1103?
11.
Let me get it out.
Ought to pass.
Do we need an amendment on this one?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Sorry, my,
Yes,
Yeah.
there is an amendment for this as well.
do we have it?
Yes,
Did we feel that we did
for
an amendment on
1103,
this one?
line 3, where it's, oh, that's struck out. Wasn't that the provision of this chapter to mention public waterway? Yes, so,
Yes, there's,
oh, hasn't. So
Can it be a
I
committee
gave you some
amendment?
language on that, though. Didn't I give that to you yesterday? Yeah. So there is we can make this the committee amendment right here. So,
What is that? You said
so,
on line 3?
yeah, on 1103, that struck out provision.
Yep.
It will read in bold, restore to the site to its, what was the word? I have restore minimal standards, but that's not the right
Yes.
language.
it's,
Applicable standards?
Oh, here it is.
you don't want to use
Pre-violation
pre-violation.
condition?
Yeah.
No, we didn't want to use that.
Yes.
Right, to restore to its, I gave you the language last night.
Is it in the,
Um,
Fail to restore the site to meet applicable standards of this chapter.
Correct.
Within 1 year of receiving
Yeah.
notification of a violation.
Right.
That's
so
the one you want to use.
That's the one, yeah.
I
So
knew I
yeah,
had it too.
Yeah, right. So why isn't that in my folder?
I don't know. I had to put the other one too.
Right, so it'll read this in
Oh, it's
struck
right
out
here.
language.
do you want a copy?
You got, it's just not in my folder, that's why. So Senator Altshuler will say, who failed to restore the site to applicable standards of this chapter within 1 year of receiving notification of a violation.
I'm okay with that
You
one.
got that one? Yeah.
I don't have that one, but I hear
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Because I had concerns about the pre-violation condition.
Right, so this will
Sometimes-
restore to the
yes.
application of standards.
I'm okay with that.
So,
I'll move that as a committee amendment.
and seconded by
Second.
Senator Bertzel. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move on to pass as amended.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none? Who would like to take it out?
I will.
Senator Bertzel will take it out. When something's not in my folder, it's like, oh, panic, panic, and it's, I probably took it out too. Mostly my fault. So that was 1103, and now I have,
Can I do this one?
yeah,
1142.
1142. Shortly.
Oh, 1142. Not
Okay. Is there a motion on 1142?
I'm still trying to put away 1103.
I'm going to move interim study on 1142.
Give me just a second, hold that.
Is there a second on interim studies?
I believe I'll second, but I'm still trying to get it out of my folder here. Okay.
Discussion?
Well, I have some real concerns regarding the fact that we're going from a much, 2 feet from a 2 foot to a 4 foot.
I think this one has to do with the examinations, individuals who do not pass the examination.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, wrong one then, that I'm looking at.
Do you remove your motion of interim study?
Yes.
Do you remove your second?
Sure.
Is there a motion of ought to pass?
I'm just sorry, I had the wrong bill too. I was told.
I'll move on to pass.
Is there a second? Excuse me.
I don't want a second spill. I have concerns about it, honestly.
Okay.
Okay.
You can second if you want to.
I'll second for discussion. Individuals who do not pass the examination on line 10 on the first page shall be required to demonstrate additional training in the trade of septic design. So rather than them going back and forth, back and forth, back and back, this basically says, look, go back to school.
I get it, and I understand the concept of what they're trying to do. I'm just a little concerned about the implications of it, because as I had the discussion with Phil Trowbridge, I'm always concerned about making the appearance that government is a barrier to people moving through this. And I think that the reason I kind of liked interim study on this is because I felt that there's a path forward, but I'm not sure this is it. I understand the problem, I really do. I get it. I'm just not comfortable fully with supporting putting that type of a limitation on someone going back and taking the test. If they're willing to pay the fee, they should be able to take the test. And if they feel they've studied and they're ready for it, you don't necessarily have to have secondary education, or some type of secondary training or class for someone. Some people can do it just by going back and reading the book. They figured out the gist of where they were weak, and they can go do it.
Wasn't part of the issue too that the people that are teaching these kids, these
installers,
future installers, didn't have access to the test information, so they didn't know what to teach them to pass the test.
And that is part of the problem, because once you give out the test, then people can say, okay, well, these are the only answers that you have to go, rather than knowing the full spectrum of what you're being trained for. So they were concerned that the test, you're studying for the test, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have the ability to actually go put in a septic design.
And additionally, it sounds like there's been communication that has occurred between the people that are trying to train for this and the department, and it sounds like they've had some communication. I don't know.
Senator you have any
I'm just a little concerned about this.
Well, during the hearing, Mr. Trowbridge did talk about NHTI. Like, did he say they were developing, or that they
That's
had?
what I thought it was.
But this doesn't exist in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure whether it was Senator Birdsell or whether it was you, Senator Pearl, like the idea of just the test. I think there ought to be a component of real work. In what? Real work. More than the testing.
Hands-on.
Yeah, thank you. That's the word.
Yeah, And
You know?
there is a disconnect between those who are teaching, who actually have the hands-on, but they don't know as to what the requirements in the test are because they can't see the test.
Right.
So there's a communication situation.
It sounded like the department would be fully favorable of a different model of this whole permit process.
Well,
It's not
what I-
really a license, it's just a permit that they're getting. It's not a license.
Yeah. What I didn't understand from the testimony, and I was, watching on YouTube, was the process by which they go through at the moment. So it's not it's not internship I'm looking for, apprenticeship.
Right.
It is an apprenticeship, but there's no license at the end of it.
No, you just get a permit. An
You get a
installer's
permit.
Yes.
So the apprenticeship leads to, if you pass the test, a permit.
However,
This was the part that was very confusing.
See, for me, I look at it, when I was working at Raytheon and we needed a certain skill to work in the clean rooms. And so they worked with the community colleges to put programs together in order to be able to get the skills that they needed. And I get the sense that we need to do that for this.
I think if this were a certification or a license, there would probably be more interest in that. Where it's just a permit, I'm not sure that there is. I mean, that's just my thoughts on it.
Probably.
Yeah, so the department basically said, as the bill is amended, it would require individuals that do not pass the examination to demonstrate additional training in the profession of septic system designs or septic systems installation to be eligible to take the exam again. So in other words, you fail the first time, you got to go back to your apprenticeship type of thing. Instead of
What does that look like? That's
Yeah.
the problem. I was
Yeah.
not clear on what that
Yeah,
looks like.
I agree with that one.
And that's why I had I understand the problem, and I understand the frustration from the department. I'm struggling to support this bill the way it's written.
All right, so we have the motion of ought to pass. It's been seconded, discussion, so let's move that forward. If you're in favor of ought to pass, say aye. If you're not, say nay.
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 Nay, nay, nay.
I'll
The motion
move into
fails.
study again.
All right, is there a motion to second?
Interim study?
Yeah.
Okay, second by Senator Berthel. Discussion. All in favor of interim study?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none.
I'll take this out.
Did we vote on 11? We voted on 1143, right? Vote? We did, okay. Thank you, I just didn't check it off this list.
11 for the 3? Oh, the one we just did.
All right, 1294.
1294.
Is there a motion of ought to pass?
Which one is this?
1294? This is
Just reading
represented.
my notes real quick here.
Establishing and committed to study ways to facilitate municipal compliance with clean water. It's a study.
All right, I'll move up pass.
Is there a second? Discussion.
Now, did we need to amend this bill? I'm reading this. I
I
have a
think we
note here.
do.
There is
I
a-
have some notes about that.
Remove section 1 is what I had, but as I'm looking at the bill, I don't know.
Section 1.
So if you move the established committee, that wouldn't work. So I must have made an error in my notes here.
So, Ted said that, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry, guys, I guess my notes weren't accurate on that one.
I don't know. Do you have anything that
Okay,
we
regarding
needed
the
to
bill's
amend
first
it?
section of studying NIFTY's delegation. Ted's not here, is he?
Ted, he's not in here.
He was.
There's no motion on this yet?
No, I thought
We did move it out to pass.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to figure out when, because I have a note to make an amendment, but I'm trying to figure out what I wanted to amend, because what I have is not correct.
This bill states.
And Phil's looking to see if he has any notes on the amendment.
Well, Ted Deere said, regarding the bill's first section on studying NIFTY's delegation, Mr. Deere noted that this issue resurfaces periodically every few years, despite the underlying facts remaining unchanged. And I think that's why I put remove section 1, but I'm trying to find that actually in the bill.
So, the Department of Environmental Services states that this bill would cost the state hundreds of millions of dollars in lost federal revenue. This bill would.
Study?
Yeah, this bill states that the Federal Environmental Protection Agency has no constitutional validity in the state and requires the Department of Environmental Services to provide all environmental protections in the state. The Department of Environmental Services state this bill would cost the state hundreds of millions of dollars.
But
right?
I don't.
Director Winsat is here. Do you know anything about this?
I don't know a lot about it. My understanding is that it would blow up the system, though.
That's what, yeah. I don't know.
Do you want to hold on this?
No, I want to get rid of it.
All right.
So,
It's got an FN, so
but
it would blow
the
up
original bill had that,
and then it was amended.
I don't remember what you said, stated about removing section 1 and TIP replies. Yes.
But section 1 is establishing the committee.
Right, but there is an amendment here.
yeah, so what you were reading was the fiscal note off the original
Original bill.
bill, which
Okay.
actually states that federal, the
that's
EPA has no constitutional validity, but the amendment just creates a study committee.
It replaces, the amended title of the bill, replacing it with the following: establishing a committee to study the ways to facilitate municipal compliance with Clean Water Act requirements. And then,
Started off saying that the bill is exact before the amendment and that they have the opportunity to get comments on it from DES. And so I think that's why he was.
right. And as amended, do you think this still blows up the system? That's a problem. That's a big problem. What's that?
Do you have next Tuesday? In worst case?
I do have next Tuesday, but
I think what the confusion is I think they were testifying on before the Bixby amendment that happened in the House. And I think, and I may be mistaken.
and so the Bixby amendment basically establishes a committee.
Study.
But is it a replace all? It just says amend the title of the bill by replacing it with the following.
Original bill does not exclusion.
Yes.
Right. Establishing a committee to study ways to facilitate, and it doesn't say replace all though.
Yes,
It
replace
is-
all after the enacting clause on line 6.
Right. And it's,
Oh, there you go, all right.
the committee shall review RSA 426 and RSA 434 and assess the following. Would having the Department of Environmental Services assume national pollutant discharge elimination?
I have good notes on this. Read it from- Okay. You started off saying the original bill is not a good solution. The question was, is there a way to alleviate the burden on small towns? They first decided they couldn't figure out this term. It was a suggestion to put in the possibility of looking into delegated status and non-delegated status. At the moment, most states process wastewater permits at the state level. Wasn't aware when putting the amendment together that this was studied. Charges to the study committee was first to study the allegations. The letter from DS is that they don't believe it's such a great idea. It's a public pass. State is to pass as is and meet the charge. And then last thing is amend it and remove the first charge and leave the second charge and look at the waste of funds.
The first charge, okay.
Got it. So the first charge would be having the Department of Environmental Services assume National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permitting
That was my
authority.
section 1, but it's,
Help municipalities better meet but the second part is how can the state help municipalities acquire more funding to meet Clean Water
okay.
Act? So we want to take out section 1.
Yeah,
So I'll make a motion that we make a committee amendment removing lines 11 through 13.
On the original
Actually,
bill?
I'm sorry, lines
the amended.
11 through 13.
On the amendment.
The amended bill.
The bill as we received it.
Yeah,
That would remove the first charge.
right.
And I think that satisfies it. That makes sense from my notes.
These would be nice if it
So-
said passed as amended.
That's the amendment, so you gotta read the amended version by the House.
I know.
Yeah.
Which leaves us with, excuse me, which only leaves us with part 2, how can the state help municipalities acquire more funding to meet Clean Water Act and PDES requirements? Don't we do that? Like, in all seriousness, doesn't the department, that's part of their charge in the first place?
Yeah. So.
So, I mean, they have to do that.
They're already doing that.
So we're already doing this. If we take out section 1,
And there's,
then we're just telling the department to like,
Do
keep
what
doing
They're
it.
doing it, yeah.
keep
doing
doing what
it.
you're doing. So do you want to
So-
interim study it?
Interim study.
I'll withdraw
We
my
just get rid of
second.
it. I mean,
Let's.
Withdraw
not-
my second on
ITL.
the ought to pass motion.
I'll move ITL.
All right, seconded by,
Second.
second, discussion. All in favor of ITL?
I,
Any opposed? Seeing none. I'll take this one out, if that's okay. That way, he's gonna get mad at somebody, he'll get mad at me. Relative comprehensive, let's see here. All right, 1620. Is there a motion on 1620? Senator Pearl?
ITL?
Is there a second?
I'll second for
Okay,
discussion.
discussion?
Can I ask that you bring Director Wimsat up? I think he has some information that might be
Would you-
valuable to
would
the
you care to-
landfill bills that we have.
Would you care to be up here and? So 1620. And do you have questions for
Well, I know in my previous conversations with Director Wimsat, he had some information that he felt would just help us, guide us through the landfill bills that we have in front of us, and so I thought it would probably be beneficial if we had the opportunity to hear what he had to say.
So I'm looking for it. I'm looking for the actual original bill, and I don't have it in my folder. Why don't I?
thank you.
There it is. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Mike Wimsat. I serve as Director of the Waste Management Division for New Hampshire DES. And, in speaking with our commissioner, we knew that this committee was going to be executing some landfill bills. And we have had, as you probably know, a very active session with regard to landfills. In particular, the House Environment and Agriculture Committee had expressed a lot of concerns about some important pending rulemaking that the department was doing relative to our solid waste rules. That all of our solid waste rules are expiring in July, and we are adopting some chapters without amendment, but a number of chapters we're making substantial changes to. And one of those chapters is Chapter 800 of the solid waste rules, which relate to siting, design, and operation of landfills. And the E&A committee felt it was so important, they established an ad hoc subcommittee to kind of monitor our rulemaking progress. And so we've appeared before that committee several times over the last almost a year, or I guess at least 6 or 8 months, to kind of give them an update on where we're at. And as part of our most recent meeting about a week or two ago, we did, at the request of that subcommittee, we went before them to give them an overview of what the proposed changes for Chapter 800 were and how we felt that they make some very substantial improvements to the environmental protections and safety of our landfill rules. And so that letter was submitted to them a couple of weeks ago, and I've just had it distributed. It's dated April 23rd. It was addressed to the chair of the subcommittee, Representative Creighton, and it outlined actually 19 areas that we identified where we felt that there were substantial improvements to the safety and protections provided by the rules relative to landfill siting and design. And with the committee's permission, I won't go through all 19, but I'll maybe highlight 3 or 4 of them that I think are worth noting, just for your reference. And the first one in the letter is item number 1 in the letter. And essentially there are several certain sections of the rule that are proposed to be amended. And I should note that these rules, the rulemaking notice went out for these rules last week, and there will be a public hearing on May 20th. And then that'll be followed by a comment period, and then we'll continue the rulemaking process through that on through. And so this section, certain sections of the rule are proposed for revision to basically incorporate, to ensure that both stormwater, leachate, and landfill gas infrastructure and the location of that infrastructure on the site are considered in the siting requirements. Right now, our rules essentially only require that the landfill footprint be considered with respect to certain site-specific siting requirements. This will ensure that all of those additional components of the landfill will also be considered as part of the siting, which we think
Were they not before?
They weren't. No, it was really just all the site-specific setbacks and such were really focused just on the landfill footprint, which is defined as the area of the footprint or the area of the landfill in which waste is actually placed.
So these are tightening up the rules a little bit.
Right. When you design and construct a landfill, you also have outside that landfill footprint leachate management and stormwater management and gas management systems. And so now all those systems will be included in when we review against the siting criteria. So we believe that that will improve the protection of groundwater, surface water, and other potential receptors around the landfill. Mm-hmm. The second area I'd highlight is number 2 on the letter, and that is we propose to amend the rule to require a minimum standard for the in-situ hydraulic conductivity of the soil located immediately beneath the landfill footprint. The existing rules don't have a minimum requirement for how porous the soils are, if you will. And this proposed change will improve protection of groundwater.
And so already you don't need legislation to do that? You're already putting that forward, and it's tightening up again. It's making it that much more stringent.
That's correct. With this rulemaking, that will be part of the rules and will be enforceable for all, applications for new landfills or expansion of existing landfills. And then a third area is we propose that. I want to see if I can maybe cover it. Oh, yeah. Basically, again, it's item 3 in the letter, and it would require that a landfill and all the associated infrastructure associated with stormwater, leachate, and landfill gas management would be sited such that a discharge or a spill or a leachate release or any other failure of the containment system would be detected, assessed, and remediation initiated prior to that contamination reaching any perennial water body. So there's a lot of concern on the part of the legislature and the public about protection of surface waters and how we accomplish that in the rules. And this, we have a parallel requirement like this in the existing rules for groundwater, but it doesn't address specifically surface water. So this would strengthen it to say that those conditions need to be met, both with respect to protecting groundwater and protecting surface water.
So if we have another season like last year, where we had an excessive amount of water, this kind of addresses the surface water a little bit.
Sure. Well, and that's a good segue to the next two, and then I'll stop. So the next one, item 4, basically in keeping with this concern about surface water setbacks, we're proposing to amend the rules to increase the distance between a landfill footprint and a perennial surface water body from 200 feet to 500 feet, with the exception of first and second order smaller perennial streams. And that distance will remain at 200 feet. So currently, the rules have just a standard 200-foot minimum setback for all surface waters. This increases that for most surface waters. And then along those lines, with what you asked about with weather, there are several sections of the revised rules that would require that for the design of leachate management and stormwater systems, that consideration be given to the increased frequency and intensity of precipitation that we're now seeing. So in a number of locations, or number of places in the rule, instead of designing a stormwater system or a leachate management system, say the 25-year storm, we're designing it for the 50-year storm, or some similar provision that accomplishes the same thing. So basically, these rules are acknowledging that we are seeing frequently higher frequency and intensity of precipitation events, and amending the rules to make sure that we're designing and operating these facilities to accommodate for that.
So passing a bill like this, basically, how does that affect the rulemaking process that you're already doing? So this, the purpose of discussing this is just to give you some background and understanding of what we're doing with the rules to improve the quality and protection of the rules. But in the context of this bill would propose to essentially put a moratorium on landfill permitting activities for a period of time. And, we've testified that we do have some concerns that it would delay permitting of any new facilities in such a way that it's possible that there could result in having a shortage of capacity available. So I'm not saying this is specifically directly related to that, but I think we felt coming here today, we thought it would be helpful for you to understand what we are doing with respect to the existing landfill rules. So on the existing permitting process, these rules will still affect them as well?
So that is a great question that is very specific to the individual circumstances of an application. Mm-hmm. And these rules, the schedule they're on, we're really hoping to have these rules in place by July 1, but for a variety of reasons, we're not quite going to make that. That doesn't create a crisis because we filed within the time frame that we did. The existing current rules remain in effect, and then we believe that we'll likely be going to the Joint Legislative Committee on Administrative Rules with a final proposal to make these rules final by August or September. That's where we think that will put us in terms of the schedule. The question about whether an application that may be before us right now would be subject to these rules is one that we will be engaging with the Department of Justice to find that out. I don't really have an answer for that this time.
Yeah. Senator Pearl with a question.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this in. Is it fair and reasonable to say that, you've done a great job on making some very needed and necessary changes in your rules, and I commend the department for that. Is it fair to say that many of these have been driven by a lot of the legislation that we have seen, and just to say that, we understand that some of the communities and there's activists that are very concerned about what we had for rules, and is it fair to say that at least to some extent these rules are in a response to the areas that you've seen highlighted that are concerned? Absolutely. We got that a very similar question from the E&A subcommittee when we met with them last. And what I've told them, I'll tell this committee that we've had a very robust discussion. These rules have been subjected to more pre-official. We're not, we really just started the official rulemaking process when we filed the rulemaking notice, right? But we've been working on these rules for more than a year, and we've had, I think, more participation. We've had public meetings. We've had unofficial drafts that we circulated for comment and had comment periods on in the fall. So we've had a lot of involvement here, and everything we've been hearing from legislators, from the public, from the industry,
has all really gone into our review of this. And, much as you have a difficult job making decision on legislation, the agency has a difficult job deciding where it's going to land on rulemaking because it really affects things. And so I'm really proud to say we worked very hard. We've listened to everybody. We've had to make some changes to our original draft because we learned that some of the things we were proposing were going to kind of not be workable in the real world. And that happens sometimes. And that's why it's so important for us to listen to everybody. But the decisions we've made probably have not made anyone happy. And sometimes that's probably where we need to be because we're being realistic. We're developing rules that we believe will be implementable and enforceable. At the same time, providing for significant improvements in the protectiveness and the safety that's afforded by the rules.
Well, thank you. Again, I appreciate your answering my question. I appreciate your work on these rules because I know it's been an emotional topic for the legislature for 4 or 5 years now at least, and I just appreciate your work on it.
Senator, also
Thanks, Senator.
question?
Now, is there an outstanding permit application right now?
We do have an application for a new landfill in the North Country before us right now.
Okay.
Oh,
Nope.
Senator Bertzel? We really appreciate your work. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
And, can you stick around later?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Happy to.
All right, further discussion on this bill.
This, the work, so this letter that we just got, it's very heartening that they're, putting the work into the rulemaking. I'm thrilled to see that this is coming forward. However,
You're not thrilled that the rules are being coming
no,
forward?
I didn't say anything about not being thrilled with the rules. The bill is just asking us to pump the brakes on siting new landfills till 2034. It wasn't asking us to, it didn't say because all of these things weren't done. It's just pumping the brakes. We have capacity. We're not even going to come close to capacity. And this is a very, very short moratorium because what I don't see in here, because I've just been reviewing this for the past, 4 minutes, is a review of out-of-state trash and how that factors into, the volume of in-state trash that needs to go into solid waste landfills and how we want to move forward with that. And this moratorium, which is overwhelmingly supported, just gives us that opportunity to pump the brakes. It doesn't say never. It just says not right now, and we are okay. We actually have, the research has been done by the committee that we're okay through 2034. And this is only asking us to pump the brakes till 2028. So even giving a buffer. So I think that, it's worthy of just taking a break, getting the rules absolutely right, looking at what our future holds for solid waste coming into the state or what we're generating ourselves. So I would hope that we could pass this.
Further discussion?
Well, I'm going to say this. I have always been hesitant to put a moratorium on any of the, on these solid waste facilities, simply for the reason I believe our department acts very responsibly. They do a good job. They take these applications very serious. And I think we have a demonstration of that in these new rules that they're putting forward. I believe that they've been responsive and they're listening. And my concern with the moratorium has always been the length of time that it takes to permit one of these facilities is years. And if we stop 4 more years, I can tell you this particular facility that you were discussing that asked if there was a permit application in place, Senator Altshuler, this project has been working on for many, many years.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be many, many more, even if they are successful in navigating the process, before they actually ever received a permit and were able to do anything. And that is my concern. We do have the 2034 date, I know is out there, it's talked about a lot. I believe we're fine until then. I believe we're fine beyond that. I do. But I think we have a process in place that works. We have a department that takes it seriously, and I just don't feel that this is a policy that the state needs to take at this time.
All right, I'm going to move this along because we have other bills. So what?
So we had an ITL motion.
All right. So I'm going to move the question. All in favor of ITL?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
All right. Senator Pearl, you want to take it out?
Sure, I'd love to.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion on HB 1632? And this will be our last one for today. And I think I'm going to do 1623 with Senator Waters here because of this amendment.
Which one? 1632?
1632, yeah.
Hold on just a minute, let me get there.
And I know 1623, Senator Waters has an amendment, so I'm going to wait on that because he'll be back next week. And I know we're going to lose you, Senator Bertzel, so. Right, you're going to be gone next week?
Oh, I am, yes.
All right, 16.
Is there a motion on 1632?
Gonna move out to pass.
Is there a second? Seeing there's no second, the motion fails. Is there another motion?
Move ITL.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
There. Sorry, I'm just having trouble getting another page here.
Cannot help but, recall when we were on the floor of the Senate and Senate President Bradley impassionately talked about how we had to take proactive steps so that New Hampshire didn't become a magnet for undocumented immigrants. And it seems like we're very, 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 very intense about not having more people come in. But this actually stops us from becoming a magnet for out-of-state trash. So we're not going to put a moratorium on landfills. We don't have our rules finished yet, and we already are becoming a dumping ground for other states' solid waste trash. We don't need to do this. If we take care of our own business, we can, we only export 5% of our own trash, but we import 40% of our landfill contents. I don't see how this benefits us in any way because we can't control what is coming in from those other states. We can be very mindful about what we put in our own landfills and how we collect our recyclables and hazardous waste, but we have no control over what comes in from other states. So,
I think one of the issues.
it doesn't get treated for PFAS either. We're going to end up covering that. That seems wild that we would say, sure, send it on in, and then we'll cover the remediation.
I think one of the issues that came up in discussion, though, is the fact that we do have the Commerce Clause. And this would generate lawsuits, no doubt. I'm a co-sponsor on this as well, but further investigation, it just seems as though this is going to cause more controversy than anything, and I'm not sure we can legitimately do this.
Where did that come up in discussion? I'm quickly scanning through the report. I don't recall. How would the Commerce Clause?
It's in the letter from Commissioner Scott.
Commissioner Scott.
1, 2, 3.
And it also came
The
up in
Commerce
this.
Clause of the U.S. Constitution has been commonly interpreted to preempt a state from explicitly prohibiting or adopting policies that would restrict a commercial solid waste facility. And DES is concerned that this bill as drafted would subject future permit decisions that incorporate the bill's provisions to a legal challenge based on the Commerce Clause.
And it did come up in the study committee that generated this bill, and I remember that specifically, but we went forward with it anyway. And it is for discussion, and of course, it's very heartening to know that the rulemaking is is tightening up the rules on solid waste. We do have an issue. We want to make sure that we move forward responsibly, but this right here just generates more controversy than anything. And as far as that, and That's one, that's just another battle. I think one of the things that we did come out of that committee hearing, though, was the fact that we can reduce our tonnage by 2/3, create energy if we had incineration. But
We
that's
could
another
also
that's another discussion, but so as
limit
far as.
it. If we owned all this, then we would be able to say, nope, we're not taking it.
Well, keep in mind that there are some southern tier cities or towns that do take their trash south of the border. So we do export some of our trash. And we also have the bill that we're going to be hearing on the PFAS, so that at least regionally, we may be all the same.
Yeah, and we'll take that one up
Right.
later. But
Yeah, the southern tier trash that goes out makes up 5% of the entire state, though. That's it. That's 5% going out, and we're bringing 40% of our total in.
So there is-
it's you know, it's off balance.
there is material that does come from out of state that we want, that we use for cover. That also came out of the study. And we don't want to limit that because it basically, it layers, it covers the bad stuff, if you will, and then you pile on top of that. I forget what it's called. Do you remember what that's called? Yeah, thank you. But it's something that we use, and it's good for us, so.
Additionally, there's products that we don't landfill here that we send out of state because we aren't able to do so. They go through recycling and things of that nature. Further down the road, we may be looking at the opportunity to actually put recycling businesses in place here. I sit on the solid waste working group, and there is discussion that we were having at our last meeting, Director Wimsatt was there as well, about opportunities that may come forward for what product was it?
Advanced recycling.
Yeah, well,
We passed that last
what
year.
product was it we were talking, was it mattresses?
Yes.
That there's the ability to establish recycling, they're making advancements in technology. And so I'm just concerned when we start limiting like this, again, my biggest concern is the interstate commerce clause. Senator Altshuler, I struggled to draw the comparison between bringing in a regulated legal business with illegal immigration. I'm sorry, but that one I have a little bit of a trouble making the correlation between.
Because the correlation was becoming a magnet.
I
The magnet, like drawing in. So
I'm gonna move
we have
this
an
forward.
amendment, though, here. I have notes that there was, I have notes for a possible committee amendment that we discussed during the hearing, that on line 4, after the word solid waste,
It originates out of New Hampshire.
that originates or is collected in a state other than is New Hampshire.
I had that.
Are we open
same
to
note.
that?
At this time, I'm not. I'm going to stay with the ITL. I have concerns here that I don't think that will solve.
All right, I'm going to move it forward. Moving the question. All in favor of ITL?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. And I'll take this one out, seeing I'm a co-sponsor. And I think that's going to be it for today. We're going to do, we did a lot today.
All right.
So is there a motion to move out of exec?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none. And you have the rest of the day to yourself.
I think so. We can find this.